What's going on, everybody? It's Monk Dan. I'm glad to be streaming. I'm glad to be here. Let's get into it. So, if you are new to the channel, thank you. Welcome to the channel. What I do on my channel is I like to seek and share wisdom through philosophy. All right. So, today's topic, man, is pretty much it says the Tortured Templars. Who are the Templars? What are the Templars, right? How about this? What if I were to tell you that the creation of Baphomet derived from the confessions of tortured Templars? What if I told you that? Well, that's exactly what happened in this book, according to this author. Before I get into that, I just want to let you know this is going to be a short stream, so I do apologize if I cannot make the timestamps. As soon as I finish the stream, I got to get some food and gather all my things. I'm hitting the road for a bit, so I'm going to try to stream on the road. Hopefully, I'm able to do so. So I do apologize if you are following along with the streams and you're like, damn, bro, you ain't you ain't give us no timestamps. So I do apologize in advance if I don't get them out ASAP. But anyway, yes. So the topic, the Tortured Templars. All right, who and what are the Templars? All right, this is chapter 1 as well. So if you are following along in the book, I'm coming straight from chapter 1, part 1. All right, so the Templar, so there's a lot of historical aspect to this, and I won't try to dive so deep into it to where I get lost and try to understand who's who and all this. In a nutshell, there's war. There's just like in today's present time, there's war. There's never peace in the Middle East. There's fucking war all the fucking time. There's this group versus that group, this group versus this group, so on and so forth. And in this particular time, there's the religious people, the Muslim Turks and Christians are feuding and they're fighting for land, right? So in the midst of that, you have the small group called the Templars. How did they form? Oh, what the hell? You know, it's like they're just a small group, and then eventually they kind of grow a bit in terms of their size, but they're just a group of guys. All right, so let me give you some historical background onto this right here. Okay, so I'm gonna just read portions of the book and that I want you to kind of gear us to the topic. So in the last part of the 11th century, the Byzantine Empire lost control of Jerusalem and other Christian holy sites in a string of military defeats by the Muslim Turks. So that's very important. The Muslim Turks are taking over. They're fighting. These people are fighting for land, and the Christian people are losing their stronghold. They're losing their land, if you will, or the places that they have their strongholds or their churches and all that good stuff, right? This sparked the First Crusade, 1095 to 1099, a European military campaign that liberated the Holy Land from the Muslims, culminating in the recapture of Jerusalem and the establishment of the Crusader states. In Jerusalem, circa 1119, the nine knights led by Hughes de Payens, please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the name, is Payens, took vows of poverty and chastity and swore obedience to the Patriarch of Jerusalem, Baldwin II. All right, so what does all that mean? So in essence, once again, the Christians, Muslims, they're fighting, and the Christians are losing ground. And so you have this small group of guys, 9 guys, and they're led by Hughes de Payens. So these guys said, hey, we're going to band together. We're going to make this group, and we're going to basically fight. We're a small group of soldiers, if you will, a small group of soldiers, and we're going to fight to take back our land, if you will. And I wanted to note some things about this group that they said. This group, they vowed to be poor. They said they used the word poverty, but they chose to be poor, and they chose chastity, meaning they abstained from sex, and they swore obedience to the Patriarch of Jerusalem, and it says Baldwin the second. So they're following the obedience of this patriarch or whatever. They're following. They have orders. I'll skip down a bit. It says this small group order of knights became known as the Poor Knights of the Temple of Solomon, or simply the Knights Templar, and that's where we get the name Templar. So here you go. We got this group, and so they band together, and they're doing their thing, right? They're trying to establish themselves, and they're trying to fight and all this, and they start to get some notoriety. They start to get some accolades, or people start to notice. Okay, we got these guys that's fighting for us, right? And they took notice or the attention from Bernard of Clairvaux, I believe that's how you pronounce that, a popular and influential abbot who took special interest in the idea of monastic. Please forgive me. I don't know how to pronounce some of this stuff. Monastic, maybe. Military order. So basically, they're getting noticed of the work that they're doing, and then eventually they get recognized by the church under the Pope Honorius II. So they're getting their orders from the Pope now. I'm telling all of this to kind of give some background to what the heck is going on and what the hell, right? So again, they take the stand of being of taking no money or establishing poverty and celibacy, right? Okay, so you got these guys. They're fighting for their land and their religion, so on and so forth. And that kind of also talks about what they did. They didn't do the traditional fast. They ate meat so they can stay strong. They ate meat 3 times a week. While the men consecrated to God could not shed blood, the Templars got special dispensation from the Pope to slay the enemies of Christianity. So, which was odd. I thought that was odd too for religious people. I know some people say one of the commandments is thou shalt not kill, but however you see killing happening. So I just don't understand the religious aspect of any of this, because I'm confused on that part. I was like, well, didn't they have the commandment? And I still, to this present day, I'm like, that commandment is being broken over and over and over and over again. But everyone just gets a pass. I have no idea. Well, how about this? Those who are in power, or those who make the rules, in this instance, with the Templars, you get a special pass to go and kill. Religion. So anyway, the Templars grew quickly and soon amassed a great deal of wealth. Remember, that was something that I was confused about too. So these guys, they're getting notoriety, and people starting to notice them, and people are giving them money and giving them land and all of this good stuff because of the work that they're doing. How did they stay in poverty though? So they're saying, hey, we are going to be poor. And even in the text, it says that these wars cost money, just like in today's present time. But these guys promoted themselves to be poor. However, they were getting money. I'm confused about that. I know it sounds weird. I don't know if it may seem trivial, but I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. You're saying that you're going to be poor. You don't want to take money from this, but you're accepting money for your wars. And I was like, well, how about this? How about you don't control the money? Someone else controls the money for you, and you just continue to do what you do. And if you need meat to sustain yourself, someone will purchase that for you. Or let's say you need money, or you need things for war, objects for war. I know you had certain weapons and all of these things. Why wouldn't you allow the Pope? How about that? Why wouldn't you allow the Pope to provide those things for you? I thought that was very weird in this text. And it says the farms, mills, and other industries granted to the Templars often produced commercial goods and turned a profit. Known for their financial acumen, believe that's how you pronounce that. The Templars started managing estates of nobles in France and other countries, later even serving as tax collectors. Like, that's a contradiction right there, man. I just gave the contradiction about how in the religion says God told them not to kill as one of those commandments. I don't know which commandment it is, but the commandment says thou shalt not kill. However, there's still killing going on, not just with the Christians, the Muslims, and so on and so forth. I'm like, that's a contradiction, and everybody's just kind of like, yeah. But you're doing that very same act. And then here you go with the Templars. They're saying they're standing their ground, saying we're gonna be poor and we're not gonna have sex. And there was another one. What was the third one? To swore the obedience to the patriarch to Jerusalem, Baldwin II. But then later, in the second page 9 at the top, they kind of dropped that part. I noticed that they didn't say that last part, swore obedience to the patriarch of Jerusalem. They just say Templars took vows of poverty and celibacy, wore simple clothes, and ate, slept, and prayed together. That's all it did. So I didn't want to be too picky, but I'm just trying to be critical of the information that I'm reading. So once again, these guys say they want to be poor, and I'm like, with wealth that you have access to the land. Now you're tax collectors. I'm like, something just doesn't seem right now. Something seems a bit off. You're saying you're poor, but you have access to land. You're tax collectors now. That's something to look into. Now, I'm not gonna be I don't know. I'm just very cautious about the actions that people take. Now, how about this? Now you're gaining all of this wealth, this land, and all of this good stuff, and we know this. The more access that you have financially to land, your tax collectors, women are gonna come your way. I'm sure y'all were fucking. I'm sure the Templars were fucking. Am I wrong for that thought process? The book doesn't clarify that. The book kind of glances over that, but I'm like, bro, with money and wealth comes women. But they didn't kind of talk about that. So I'm like, this group here is very contradictory. Why am I bringing all that up? Because these guys eventually, they start to gain some haters, right? So also with wealth, your finances looking good. You got land, you are tax collectors, all of this good stuff. Bitches are gonna come your way. And also haters, right? So here we go. It says, let me go to the part that I wanted to get to. Their hater that they had, his name is King Philip IV. Alrighty, so check this out. So once again, just a quick recap. These 9 guys, led by Mr. Hughes de Payens, they band together. They said, hey, we're going to fight for Christianity, to take our land back, to get our land. They band together. They're doing well. They're saying they want to promote poverty and chastity. Things change. They're coming up. You know, things are going well for them in the sense of people giving them things. So people notice them now. And like I said, I'm thinking women coming their way too. So they got to be fucking, and they're no longer poor. But then also they get haters. This guy here, King Philip IV, was their biggest hater. And I'm bringing this up because now it leads to the confession part. So here we are. When Acre, the last Christian stronghold in Palestine, fell to the Muslims in 1291, fortunes changed for the Templars. And damn, they were fighting for a fucking long time, yo. They were fighting for some goddamn centuries, bro. because this said the Byzantine Empire lost control of Jerusalem and other Christian holy sites in a string of military defeats by the Muslim Turks. This sparked the First Crusade, 1095 to 1099. And then here we are on the second page. It says the Acre, the last Christian stronghold in Palestine, fell to the Muslims in 1291. So from 1095 and now even to 1291, that's a long time, brother. Y'all still fighting, man. Even to this day, man, these motherfuckers are still fighting, bro. They still can't figure it out. So anyway, fortunes changed for the Templars. Some blame the Templars for the loss of the Holy Land. Wow. So after all of this, what these guys have banded to do, and these guys get together, they're still fighting, so on and so forth. But then this particular point right here, this is the pivotal part right here where things drastically change for them. It says, I'll read that again. When Acre, I have no idea what Acre is, and I can research that. It says the last Christian stronghold in Palestine, I guess that's what it is, the last Christian stronghold in Palestine, fell to the Muslims in 1291. Fortunes changed for the Templars. Some blame the Templars for the loss of the Holy Land. This is where it changes right here, right? So with fame, with somewhat success, if you will, with you're getting money, and now you're getting bitches. The book ain't gonna include that, but I will. You get haters, and now you're gonna get blamed for not producing success, if you will. Wow. So it says that the last Grand Master of the Templars, Jacques de Molay, traveled to France to attempt to organize other crusades. Here it is. King Philip IV of France took advantage of this situation by hatching a plot to bring down the Templars so he could seize their wealth for himself. So I did a little bit of reading here, and he gets into their. So first, this king, which is odd. Like I'm like, what? The King Philip IV tries to become a Templar. The king tries to become a Templar. That's how huge. I'm like, yo, that's pretty huge that a king comes and say, hey, I want to be a Templar, but they denied his ass. And so in the denial, he becomes hatred. He gets this animosity towards his group. And so, in the midst of this, let me just kind of see how he maneuvers his way into the group. It says, so during the riots in Paris over the monetary policies in June 1306, Philip took refuge in the Templar stronghold for 3 days, where he must have noticed their conspicuous wealth and power. So that part right there was weird. And it's 1306 and they're still going through this craziness, right? So this is how he finagles his way into their, I don't want to say camp, but into their doings. He finesses his way into their I don't know. The camp is the best way I can describe what he did. But you get the essence of what I'm trying to say. Hopefully you do. So once he does this, he realizes that, he sees how they're making their money. He's witnessing how they're operating, right? And this dude had that much hatred that for this group, right? So once again, everything was fine, and then all of a sudden, a little turn of events, everybody's kind of against them, but now they got their biggest hater who wanted to be a part of them, but he got denied, which was the King Philip IV. And then now he finagles his way into learning about them in their finances, their power. All right. So in the midst of all of this, he realizes, hey, man, these dudes, they still get their orders from the Pope. I said that earlier. They get their orders from the Pope. So he notices this. So he gets a puppet. He gets, what's his name? This guy's name is Pope Clement V. So he gets him a puppet into the Pope's, I don't know what you want to call it, the Pope's order of people to talk to. I have no idea about the Christian or the religious hierarchy of people, the ranks and all that. I have no idea about all of that. But somehow he gets this guy, Pope Clement, involved in the. I'll just read this little small paragraph. It said, technically, the Templars still answered only to the Pope. So Philip used his power and influence to install a puppet to the papal throne. Pope Clement V then moved that throne from Rome to Avignon, France. I believe that's how you pronounce that. After fabricating elaborate charges of heresy, Philip issued secret orders throughout France to arrest all Templars and seize their assets on the morning of Friday, October 13, 1307. So this is how he gets his payback. And he's doing all this because he wants their money. He wants their access to their money. Wow. Isn't there another one? Isn't there another commandment about coveting? I think it's I'm not a religious guy. Trust me, I have no idea. But no, I think that's about the wife. Do not covet somebody's wife. But I thought it was somebody's property as well. But even that, I mean, bruh, you have that much hatred and jealousy. I thought y'all was supposed to be on the same team. Wow, man. You know, I gotta get a clip. You know that the movie Sinners. First of all, I don't even like that movie. I just, that movie was terrible to me. But I'm saying all that to say, there's a little clip with the big man, and he's at the door. He turned into a vampire, and he was like, "Well, let me on in." And they was like, "No." And then he was like, "Man, it be your own peoples." And this is the fall of these guys right here. It was their own peoples. Man, that's fucked up, man. These guys, I'm not saying that they were successful at what they were doing. Obviously, they weren't, because they were losing the battles. They lost the Acre, the last Christian stronghold in Palestine. So evidently, they weren't doing good at all. But they was making money. Oh man, these dudes here was hustling, man. That's goddamn. That's their religion, boy. That religion be hustling. Goddamn. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, man, these goddamn religions be hustling, man. Buddy, this group here, man, they were not successful, man. They losing, bro. And then somebody say, "Hey, enough is enough." But the king wanted to be a part of them to get their money. All right, so let me get back to the story, man. Enough of fooling around. All right, so here you go. You got Philip. He installs Pope Clement V into the group, and so now he brings up all these charges, like, you know, whatever the charges are. And now let me read some of the charges. It says the 127 articles of accusation drawn up in 1309 charged the Templars with committing many common heretical. How can I forget the heretical acts? It's like in other words, I've looked up the term. I just never remember how to pronounce it. But basically, it's like blasphemy. That's what it is. In essence, blasphemy. So these are the charges: denying Christ, defiling the cross, profaning the sacrament, and engaging in sodomy. These are the accusations that Philip drawn up against the Templars. Strangely, many of these accusations concern the nature and worship of idols or heads. Here is where we're starting to get into the creation of Baphomet. All right, so he lists a lot of the articles here. He says the article 10, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's a long list. But it's saying that how they worshipped these idols and these idols and then I guess I can read this little first part. It says that this is the article 10. It says that in all provinces these brothers had idols in the form of heads, some of which had three faces, some one, and some had a human skull. So now they're drawing up this idea of Baphomet. Now this is where it all originates, right here. Right. So they're describing how by them worshiping, this is all fabricated. This is what they're just making up now. No proof of none of this. They're just off the top of their dome. Yeah. So yeah, when they worship, let me give you a good example here. So when they worship, it made the soil bring forth seeds. Oh, when they did this, I'll just read some more of it. You know what? How about this? I got a little time. I'm trying not to go too long, but I'll just read this whole portion. How about that? So that was Article 10, and then I'll just read this. It's not too much. That they worship those idols or that idol, and in particular in their general chapters and gatherings. So this is what they're denying. I mean, not denying. This is what they're claiming. That they worshipped it or them. That they worshipped it or them as God. That they worshipped it or them as Savior. That some of them did, that the majority of them did, that they said that the head could save them, that it made them rich, that it gave them all their riches, that it made the soil bring forth seeds, that it made the trees flower, that they encircled or touched some head with cords, which they then tied around their shirt and bodies, that at reception the small cords and others of the same length were handed to each brother, that this was done in veneration of the idol, that they were told to tie said cords around them, and said previously to wear them all at all times, that this was also done at night. So all of this bullshit they just docking up on these guys, man. I'm like, man, come on, man. But anyway, so I have to read this in the next part. I'll just break it down a little bit. It says extensive searches of Templars preceptories found no idols or heads. So out of all of this, they didn't find no evidence of this, no physical evidence, none. All of this that they just said, there was no evidence of any of it. So here's where it gets really interesting. Tortured Templars simply describe whatever their inquisitors wanted to hear. So they're confessing these things, but it's under duress. Do you believe their confessions? How about this? I know I'm not I'm not a lawyer. I don't have any legal backgrounds, or I'm not an attorney. I'm not a criminal lawyer. I have no idea. We watch this stuff on these legal shows like Law and Order and so on and so forth, right? Accepting the confession of someone that's under duress is not permissible. If I'm correct in my understanding, and if I am wrong, please let me know. But the confession of someone is not permissible that's under duress. How about this? Even in family law. Ooh, I know a lot of you suckers like to get married, bro. Right? And we try to say, hey, man, if you're going to do it, man, like Travis Hunter, like, bruh, get a prenup, bro. Now, the prenup is not going to stop the bleeding. It's just going to slow it down a bit. Ask Dr. Dre, man. Bro, you still going to pay, bro. Anyway, not to get off subject, but what I'm saying is, I believe Jeannie Mai and Jeezy had that situation, or maybe it's someone else, where they didn't want to sign the prenup because they felt that they were under duress. I think that was Dr. Dre's situation. Like the wife, after all these years they were together, now it's, oh, well, I was under duress when I made the contract, right? So we know that being under duress is not acceptable, if you will, for a confession or to acknowledge that, hey, I was in the right frame of mind when I made a decision. So here we are with these guys, right? These supposed to be, I'm not saying that they were dumb in the past, but these people accepted this confession. And these guys were under duress. And we see that a lot. We see this quite a bit in our society to this present day. I'll read this again. Tortured Templars simply described whatever their inquisitors wanted to hear. They venerated a bearded head or three heads made out of wood or gold or silver. It had no legs or forelegs. It took the shape of a demon or a cat. Unfortunately, the erratic confessions, completely unreliable, have often served as the basis of historical fantasies and conspiracy theories regarding the Templars. That's fucking crazy, man. That's fucking crazy. So, this right here, man, was just some bullshit that someone said, that they were a confession that they made under duress. And people to this fucking day, man. Fuck. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to do that. It's going to beep again. Hold on 1 second, guys. Let me turn it down. So to this fucking day, you got people who believe in this shit when it was all created off of a fucking tortured individual. They just said some bullshit. And to this day, motherfuckers have gone all off the deep end, man. That's some bullshit, bro. That is some bull fucking shit, man. And how about this? I'll even throw another layer to this. It was the very Christians, the people who believe in Christ and so on and so forth. They are the ones who created this shit. You Christians created this shit. That's fucking insane. Christians created this. Under duress or not. The people who believed it carried that bullshit on. The people who were under duress made the shit up. And the motherfuckers who wanted to see those guys tortured carried that shit. Man, I tell you, man. I'll read a little bit more because I want to reference how they got the name Baphomet. It says the name Baphomet does not appear in King Philip's arrest warrants. Once again, the dude laid all these claims out, but they had no name in his arrest warrant. No documents of him saying, "Oh yeah, this is Baphomet." No name of that. The name Baphomet does not appear in King Philip's arrest warrants, in the articles of accusation, or any of the papal bulls issued by Pope Clement V. So how did the name Baphomet become associated with these monstrous heads? Like, come on, man. And you know what, man? Just a sidebar, man. Just a side quick. Man, you know how... And we see this, man. And I'm not going to get too fucking deep into this shit, man. But I have no faith in the legal system. I have no fucking faith in I'm just going to speak about the United States. I don't know about any other country. I have no fucking faith in our legal system. It's a fucking... You know how I said how the Templars were these dudes getting money, and how it was like religion is just a way of getting money, extracting money from people. That's how I'm perceiving our legal system. It's not about justice, bro. This is an example of it right here, man. Like, they had no claim, they had no evidence, nothing to say. Okay, look, we're gonna look at this in a pragmatic manner and think about this in a reasonable sense and make a better judgment and make a judgment. They didn't do that, bro. They had no evidence. And that's how it is in our present day, man. I'm sad to say our legal system is doing the same shit, man. That's scary, bro. That's super duper scary, man. Motherfuckers can draw up. We see this all the time, over and over and over and over again, man. Motherfuckers make claims and say all kinds of shit. And motherfuckers getting away with it, bro. I don't want to get too in deep with any cases and everything, but man, we see it, bro. We see it. It's sad, man. I have no... What does it mean What does justice really mean? What does it truly mean? I think we need to examine it, man. I think we have to examine it. Family court, man. Thankfully, so far, man, in my life, I don't have a wife. I'm not getting married. I don't have any kids. But we see the injustice, man. Man, shout out to Lionel Tillman, man. This is one dude that I find as a hero, man. Why am I bringing this up, man? This dude fought the fucking family court, bro, and won, man. The dude fought them, man, and won, man. And the fucking courts were unjust. The fucking courts had this man, they were doing so much damage to this man's livelihood, man. And he's not the only one. There's so many people, bro, enduring, just suffering from the hands of our quote unquote legal justice system. That's fucking scary, man. There is no justice, bro. Like, there's so many people suffering, bro. These guys, the Templars, were suffering. I'm not defending the Templars. I'm speaking from the aspect of these guys. These gentlemen were trumped up charges, and they were tortured. Some of them died. Some of these guys died from that torture. And these are fake ass charges, man. No one with reason said, hey man, where's the evidence? They had no evidence. The name Baphomet didn't even appear in the man's goddamn shit that whatever it was. What did they name it as? The articles of accusation. I tell you, man, this is sad, bro. This is sad, man. This is what we do as humans, man. We talked about how humans destroyed the land and so on and so forth, and that's why Baphomet came about. In essence, it came up from this. The essence of the idea of Baphomet came from a fucking lie, a coerced lie, a tortured person who was saying whatever they could to stop the torturing, at least. Wow. It says the answers came from the confessions of tortured Templars in the southern regions of France who called the idol Baphomet. Right? And so that's important because it said the southern regions of France. And then the authors, it kind of explains why this is important. So in the Occitan tongue spoken in southern France and northern Spain, Baphomet referred to Mahomet or Muhammad. The fact that the Islam prohibits both the worship of idols and images of Muhammad demonstrates that the church inquisitors knew nothing about the Muslim faith and sought only to defame the Templars by suggesting that they had converted to Islam during their many years in the Holy Land. So what I'm gathering from this, it says the name Baphomet endured and the connection of Muhammad or Muhammad was soon lost in history. So I'm guessing the dialect in that region. So that's how the name Baphomet stuck. Baphomet stuck, but they were also using Muhammad or Muhammad. So you had the Islam involved in this. So it was like the loss of not translation, but the dialect was in the midst of this. So that's how the name Baphomet originated. The historical origin of the name Baphomet is a recent discovery, yet for centuries prior, people attempted to deduce the meaning of the name. Strangely enough, many interpretations connected the name with wisdom. Wow. Which as we will see in part 3 was correct. Wow. So the name Baphomet is attached to or connected to wisdom. Wow, man. There's more to this. Eventually, it says almost 400 years later, the Freemasons, the mystical fraternal order that emerged at the beginning of the 18th century, claimed, among other things, that they claimed that they were the descendants of the Knights Templar, whom they characterize as noble men wrongly accused and convicted by church and state. So wow, that's how that was news to me, because now we're hearing this, the Freemasons. I have no idea about the Freemasons. I only see the names as well. That's a mystical thing to me. And I would love to understand. I don't want to join anything. I just want to read about it and understand before I make any assumptions or judgments about it. Because I see the same thing with this Baphomet situation. I see the same, and as the text is right now, they endured the same claims, false claims as well. So these guys said, "Hey, we are the descendants," but then eventually they faced the same ridicule as the rest of these guys, man. And then eventually along the lines, then this is where they start to get the depictions of these of Baphomet. So they didn't really have a picture per se of Baphomet, but now this is where the idea came along. And once again, they had a hater. His name was Gabriel Jogan Pages. He went by Leo Taxil. This was their hater, the guy who hated the Freemasons and mystical fraternal order or whatever. This guy here, I'll give you a little bit of information on this guy. So this guy here, I highlighted that part here. Please forgive me. But anyway, this guy here, he was a writer of some sort, but he was more of I'll just read this whole entire thing. How about that? The Baphomet Masonic conspiracy came to a head in France at the end of the 19th century. Gabriel Jogan Pages, born 1854 to 1907, who went by the pen name Leo Taxil, was originally known as the author and publisher of a number of sacrilegious and lurid anti-clerical books in the early 1800s, right? Then they list some of his works. I'm not going to really go into his works, but his works were considered scandalous, semi-pornographic, stories of fictional love affairs. The former work landed Taxil in courts. So he was in court for these things where he was successfully prosecuted for libel and heavily fined. So in 1881, Taxil joined the local Masonic lodge, thinking he'd find more converts for his anti-clerical cause, but instead he was expelled for publishing pornography. So here he is, just like King Philip, who wanted to be a Templar. Here you got this guy here, Leo Taxil, that's what he goes by. He wanted to be a part of the Masonic lodge, but he didn't do it for the intent to whatever the Masonic people or whatever they wanted to believe in. He didn't stand for their purpose. He wanted to convert them to his ideas. All right, so they expelled us behind. And so this is where you get this guy here who trumps up these charges for this guy. So now they got another hater, and this is one of the images that comes from this guy here, man. Like his hating, if you will. So now this guy here, he's starting to make some. I'll just read this part. Taxil renounced his anti-clerical ways and confessed his sins to the Catholic priest. In 1886, Taxil started publishing exposés that connected the Masons with Lucifer, revealing the existence of Palladian Masonry, a secret order within a secretive order that sought to destroy the Catholic Church. So you got this hater, man. Once again, I'm not defending the Masons or any of their religions. I'm not defending any of that stuff. But we see that a lie can go a long fucking way, man. A lie can go a long fucking way. That's crazy, man. So all of this is from a fucking lie, bro. Lie after lie after lie after lie. Hatred. Jealousy. All of this, man. Man, it be your own peoples. I gotta get that clip. He say, man, it be your own peoples. Man, I thought I wanted to share that, man, of chapter 1 of Baphomet. The creation of Baphomet. came from a bullshit ass lie or confession. Here's a question before I go. Do you accept that confession? Would you accept that confession? After all, I said at the beginning how these guys, they said they were for poverty and chastity, but we see that they, first of all, they started to gain wealth through their quote unquote fighting, even though they weren't successful. They started getting money, and with money, they started to become tax collectors, owning land, and so on and so forth. Like, come on, man. They were already liars. They were already previously lying before they got these charges trumped up on them. They were already lying, bro. They were lying before. These dudes, they making money. They said they were for poverty. They rich. They wealthy. That's why King Philip wanted to get their money and assets, because they were fucking wealthy. And we already know with wealth comes hoes. Bitches love money. They wanna level up. So you know these dudes are fucking, and they wasn't winning no goddamn wars. Man, that sounds so fucking familiar, right? Sound like some countries, man. I don't know, man. Let me know what you think, man. It's going to be a short stream. I want to keep going, but I got a lot of things I got to do, man. I got to pack up. I got to do a few things. I got to grab some food, and then I got to hit the road, man. So, man, safe travels for myself, man. I want to keep reading. I want to keep posting. And, yeah, man. I'm excited, man. I'm thankful that you're watching, man. As always, peace, man. And man, this world is getting insane, bro. This AI, we got to talk about this AI shit, bro. We have to talk about AI. This is crazy, bro. We're getting replaced. Working individuals, the working class is getting replaced. This is scary, man. We got to talk about this shit, bro. If y'all ain't talking about it, man, what the fuck are y'all talking about? I have been out of work for damn near 2 months, bro. And it looks like it's going to be longer. I got a message yesterday saying, hey, we don't see no changes coming our way. So I'm like, what the fuck, man? So with all that being said, man, I got to get some peace of mind for myself. And I'm encouraging others to have peace of mind as well. Because, man, this is not easy, bro. This transition or wherever we're fucking going, it's not easy. It's not an easy process. And the motherfuckers that's higher ups, they're not giving no fucks, bro. The fucking divide between the wealth and the poor is getting wider, man. So I always encourage peace of mind, man. Peace of mind. I need peace of mind, man, because I'm worried like a motherfucker. And always, man, be kind to yourself. Fellas, we got to be kind to ourselves, man. It's tough, man. This is some weird shit happening. So be kind to yourself, man. All right? Peace.